Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Betting scheme. Federal prosecutors announced charges against 15 former college basketball players. Kirsten Clark is in the WRAL Live Center with what we know about the plan to rig NCAA and overseas basketball games.
And have you heard? We're tracking some wintry precipitation possible for Sunday. I'll show you what the scenarios are looking like.
Day 2 of testimony in the murder trial of Isaiah Ross. The medical examiner explains his findings to jurors. It is cold outside. The wind chill feels like freezing this afternoon, and snow could be on the way Sunday. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu. Chris Lovingood has the day off. Let's get to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with a look at our wintry forecast.
You know, it takes a lot of things coming together just right for us to get snow around here. And certainly we're seeing a lot of different scenarios that could play out. Not all of them include snow for us. So what do we need? We need cold air in place, and then we need a low pressure system to deliver the precipitation. It's going to deliver it in the form of rain. And then the cold air, it's the cold air's job to change it over to snow if that's going to happen. So it becomes a very tricky and complicated situation. We're looking at the potential for this to arrive a little earlier. That might not get the cold air here in time for it to change over to snow everywhere. So let's start off talking about today. So things are quiet today. We're seeing very cold temperatures, a very, very cold start tomorrow morning, but we're looking at dry conditions all the way through Friday. Our cold front that will eventually help to deliver the cold air doesn't arrive until Saturday. It moves on by. There could be a quick sprinkle on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we're likely to see the precipitation beginning. This is 8 a.m. and you can see how possibly that cold air isn't here in place, and we're starting to see the chance of some rain mixed in. So that's new for our noon hour. So precipitation, if it arrives a little bit earlier, the cold air might not be quite here. So it may end up being a lower impact winter weather event for most of us. The high resolution models are definitely showing a better chance of some cold rain, at least in parts of the viewing area. We'll take a look at what some of the other scenarios are showing and talk about our very cold night tonight coming up.
Elizabeth, thank you. You can track the snow forecast anytime with the new WRAL News app. Make sure you have notifications turned on for updates as it gets closer. The WRAL News app is available for Apple and Android devices.
I'm Kirsten Clark in the WRAL Live Center. Today we learned that federal prosecutors have charged 20 people in what they say is a betting scheme to rig basketball games. That's specifically NCAA and Chinese Basketball Association games. Now, of the 20 charged, 15 of those people played basketball for Division I NCAA schools as recently as last year. Authorities say some of the people charged today recruited those college basketball players with, quote, bribe payments ranging from $10,000 to $30,000 per game. Now, this is not the first time that we have heard of athletes or former athletes being charged for alleged schemes. We'll be sure to continue to follow this case as more unfolds.
Kirsten, thank you. It's the second day of testimony in the trial of Isaiah Ross. He is charged with killing 14-year-old Lyric Woods and 18-year-old Devin Clark in September 2022. The morning started on a difficult note as jurors heard from the Associate Chief Medical Examiner about the victim's injuries. WRAL senior reporter Megan Cloherty is monitoring this trial. Megan, we learned Lyric Woods was shot at close range.
We did. We learned that Woods was shot in the neck. And while we're not going into detail here, her family did hear those details in the courtroom this morning, shedding tears as the Associate Medical Examiner explained her injuries. Woods' body was found alongside Devin Clark's body by ATV riders in a wooded area near Mebane, a day after prosecutors say that Isaiah Ross shot and killed them. Yesterday, his defense attorney said Ross acted in self-defense in shooting Devin Clark, and that it was Clark who killed Lyric Woods. This morning, Associate State Medical Examiner Lauren Scott says the way that she can tell Woods was shot at close range is because she had burn marks on her face from the gunpowder that comes from a gun when it's fired. The medical examiner says Clark was shot 6 times and Woods was shot 7 times. Then she was asked how long Woods would have lived after suffering those injuries.
Anticipate that she would have at least lost consciousness within several minutes after the injuries, possibly sooner, and that she likely also would have died within several minutes.
Photos of those injuries are not being shown on the big screen in the courtroom where most evidence is usually presented. So the district attorney is showing printed photos of the injuries to jurors. And because family members are understandably having a hard time with this evidence, Judge Stephanie Reese asks that they step out if they're emotional. The judge emphasized that no family member is expected to be tough through this kind of testimony, but she needs the jury to focus on the evidence at hand. We'll, of course, continue to follow this case. You can stream it live on WRAL.com.
Megan, thank you for the update. Today, the 18-year-old charged after a car chase that ended in Durham is set to appear before a judge. Sky 5 captured exclusive video of two people running out of an SUV after the chase yesterday before the suspect enters a home on Sudbury Road. This is one of three chases in the triangle yesterday. WRAL's Flint Snyder is live at the Wake County Justice Center. Flynn, we are learning more about the suspect's connection to the area where that chase ended.
Renee, that suspect, Zachary Johnson, faces multiple charges stemming from that chase yesterday, which spanned two counties. Now, court documents are revealing that Johnson lives at the home on Sudbury Road where he was caught on camera going inside after the chase. He was later arrested a half-mile away. The chase started in Wake County near Cary before ending in North Durham. Charging documents accused Johnson of driving a stolen car. The sheriff's office says the chase started when Johnson did not stop as deputies tried to pull him over near Lewis Stevens Drive and Morrisville Parkway yesterday afternoon. Authorities were also able to locate a juvenile passenger seen running from that car after the chase. Also new today, Johnson is facing more charges, this time out of Apex, where warrants say he fled from officers on Highway 55 as they tried to pull him over for speeding yesterday. We're working to learn more about that incident. Meanwhile, Johnson is set to appear here in court in Raleigh at 1:30 this afternoon. Flint Snyder, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Family and friends are invited to a celebration of life service for Zoe Welsh. The Ravenscroft teacher died on January 3rd. Colleagues and students used phrases like radical positivity, bright light, and infectious energy to describe her. The celebration of life service takes place Sunday, January 25th at 3 p.m. at Ravenscroft. Donations to honor her life may be made to the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences or the Museum of Life and Science in Durham. Verizon is issuing an apology and a credit to more than 100,000 customers who lost service yesterday. We received dozens of emails from viewers after their service went down around noon yesterday. This morning, the company announced affected customers will get a $20 credit. It can be redeemed by logging into the My Verizon app. Now, if you're still experiencing issues with your phone, Verizon encourages you to restart your devices to reconnect to the network. Let's take a look at stocks now. They are on a huge rally, up 390 points. The NASDAQ is up about 240 points. S&P 500 also in the green, advancing 15 points at this hour. Road closures are now in place in downtown Raleigh. 2 lanes of McDowell Street are blocked off from the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard exit ramp to West Cabarrus Street. A crane will be set up there for construction around the convention center through Sunday. Today is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. He would have been 97. Monday is MLK Jr. Day, celebrating the civil rights icon. The 46th honorary breakfast takes place at the Sheraton Imperial Hotel in RTP. The breakfast brings people together from all walks of life and religious faiths to honor Dr. King's legacy. Doors open at 6. The event runs from 7:15 to 9 a.m. Our parent company, Capital Broadcasting, is a proud presenting sponsor. The Charlotte Hornets plan to retire the number of one of the greatest players in franchise history. Del Curry's number 30 jersey will be raised to the rafters in March when the Hornets host the Orlando Magic. The 1994 Sixth Man of the Year ranks second in career points scored in Hornets history. He's also the second player to have his jersey retired for the Hornets. The father of Golden State Warrior guards Steph and Seth Curry spent 10 of his 16 seasons with Charlotte. It is almost time for the 10th annual K-Yow Cancer Fund Celebration Run and Walk, a community event honoring survivors, caregivers, and families. Coach Kay Yao, the legendary NC State women's basketball coach, died in 2009 after battling breast cancer for more than 2 decades. One of her final wishes was to create a fund to help women fighting all cancers. The 10th annual Kay Yao Cancer Fund celebration run and walk takes place Saturday, January 31st at 9 a.m. over at WakeMed Soccer Park in Cary. You can sign up at kayyao.com.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, Raleigh's Lenovo Center is getting bigger and will be able to fit more fans next season. Here's the deal. The arena is adding seats mostly in the lower bowl by removing some aisles. Seat size will stay the same, and between 600 and 800 seats will be added depending on the event. The arena it'll add more than 650 seats for NC State men's basketball games and Carolina Hurricanes hockey games too. And this will mean that larger events will be able to be held at the Lenovo Center. I will say the arena will shut down for 8 weeks this summer for that project, but of course we'll continue following this as the Lenovo Center expands to add more events.
Next at noon, lawsuit settled. Only on WRAL, we have details of the agreement reached between the owner of a Raleigh grocery store and the family of the man investigators say he killed. Also, safe splashdown. Crew 11 makes an early return to Earth after one of the space travelers fell ill. And stepping down, the man who was instrumental in bringing Bill Belichick to UNC is leaving. What we're learning about who could replace John Pryor.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
A settlement has been reached in the lawsuit related to a deadly stabbing at a convenience store in downtown Raleigh. The family of the victim will get more than $1 million. WRAL Investigates Sarah Kruger has the details of the settlement, details you will only see here.
It was April 2023 that Mark Garrity Jr. was fatally stabbed here in this store. It was about a year ago that the store's owner was found guilty of manslaughter. Now the civil case has been resolved as well. Attorneys Jacob Morse and Spencer Fritz with Morse Fritz PLLC represent Garrity's mom, Amy Garrity. They tell me a settlement has been reached with all parties and the Garrity family will receive $1.3 million. The lawsuit was filed about 8 months ago against Tazir Zarka, his company, and the building's owner. The payout will come from the insurance companies of those defendants. The attorneys explain what the Garrity family plans to do with the money.
Mark has a younger brother who has special needs and who is in the full-time care of the Garrity family. And it was always Mark's desire to help care for his brother after his parents passed later down the road. And this money is going to help care for his brother who has special needs.
The attorneys say the Garritys also have plans to give to charities that their son was involved with during his life. You'll remember we've covered this case extensively and the trial. Zarka was sentenced to at least 5 years in prison. The deadly encounter all started because Zarka believed Garrity was trying to steal Gatorade. The attorneys tell me it's the Garrity family's hope that the outcome of this settlement will help prevent future tragedies. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News in Raleigh.
WRAL Investigates reached out to the defendants in the lawsuit for their perspective. We did not hear back.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services has announced 2 additional cases of measles in unvaccinated siblings in Buncombe County. This brings the total number of North Carolina measles cases to 7 since late December. Both cases are connected to the ongoing measles outbreak in Spartanburg County, South Carolina, where the total of cases there is 434. Health officials, of course, recommend that all unvaccinated people ages 1 year and older receive the vaccine to protect not only themselves, but those around them.
Kirsten, thank you. 4 astronauts on a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule are back on Earth. 2 American astronauts, 1 Japanese astronaut, and 1 Russian cosmonaut splashed down in the Pacific Ocean early this morning. The crew returned early to crew because of a crew member's medical issue. NASA will not reveal which crew member was ill. However, we are told that the astronaut of concern is doing well. Here's NBC's Tom Costello.
Dragon, SpaceX, we see splashdown.
Splashdown in the Pacific. After 167 days in orbit, the 4 members of Crew 11 back on Earth 6 weeks early, with one of them needing medical treatment for what NASA calls a serious condition.
On behalf of SpaceX and NASA, welcome home, Crew 11.
SpaceX Dragon, it's so good to be home.
The spacecraft seen lighting up the night sky over California as it re-entered the atmosphere. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman in an early morning news conference.
This mission brought Crew 11 safely home. All crew members are currently undergoing the routine post-splashdown medical evaluation. The crew member of concern is doing fine.
Crew 11 launched last August and was supposed to return to Earth in mid-February. Americans Zena Cardman and Michael Fink, Japanese astronaut Kamiya Yui, and Russian cosmonaut Oleg Plantinov. Then last week, NASA announced it needed to bring one of them home, but citing medical privacy, would not say who or what their condition was.
The medical incident was sufficient enough that we were concerned about the astronaut. Now, again, because the astronaut is absolutely stable, this is not an emergent evacuation.
After handing command of the space station over to a Russian colleague, the crew said goodbye.
Our timing of this departure is unexpected, but what was not surprising to me was how well this crew came together as a family to help each other and just take care of each other.
Then at 5:20 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday,
Separation confirmed.
Crew 11 pulled away from the space station and headed home.
Endeavour crew, enjoy the ride home.
10.5 hours later, they were floating off California.
It's been an honor flying with you.
Standing by for side hatch, and the honor is ours. Thank you so much.
That was Tom Costello reporting. NASA says it will share updates on the crew members' health as soon as it is appropriate to do so. You also heard from Zena Cardman. She is a UNC alum and glad they all made it back safely here on Earth. Yeah. Definitely. In our corner of Earth here, we're back to chilly temperatures. And then, of course, we're closely watching what's going to happen this weekend, Elizabeth.
That's right, boy. This weekend's still fairly up in the air, but definitely not up in the air today. Looking at chilly conditions, temperatures in the 30s for the rest of the day. But with the wind chill, we're going to see it feeling like 20s from time to time. Winds gusting 25 right now. Could see some gusts this afternoon up to around 30. We have the potential for a wintry mix. Our long-range models that you hear us talk about, the European, the American models, those have really been hinting more at snow, but we're starting to get the short range or high resolution models in, and they're leaning away from it. So that's kind of a new development here as of lunchtime. It's always fun to take a look at the Wilson camera, take a look at the whirligig park here when it's breezy out, and you can definitely see those whirligigs spinning around. Right now, our wind is northwest at 10 miles per hour. That northwesterly wind dragging that cold air along with it. So it's 35 degrees right now. Will likely pop back up to around 38 or 39, but of course the wind is going to be something that we have to deal with. We're gusting to 28 in the Triangle right now, gusting to 21 in Southern Pines, 23 in Rocky Mount, 19 in Goldsboro and Clinton, but almost everybody reporting some wind gusts right now. So that's why it feels so chilly. 27 is our wind chill in Durham and Raleigh. It's 26 in Roxborough, 28 in Southern Pines, 32 in Rocky Mount. So it's going to feel really cold for the remainder of the day. And this is a look at the wind chill as we head through the afternoon. As people are getting home from work and school, it's going to feel more like upper 20s. And if you happen to be out late tonight, that wind chill drops to around 20 by about 10 or 11 o'clock tonight. Here's why. We have a big push of cold air that's coming right out of Canada. The purple and blue shaded areas are the really cold air. It will actually lift northward away from us during the day on Saturday. And this is why we're, having some hesitation about how much wintry weather we may see. This huge batch of Arctic air will drop in on us, but the timing has to be just right. This is 6 p.m. on Sunday, and it looks like that the precipitation would start ahead of that. So that cold air's got to get there, get here in order to interact with the precipitation. We'll see how that goes. We definitely have cold air here now and very cold temperatures overnight tonight. We'll drop to 17 in Durham, 14 in Siler City, 16 in Lewisburg. And these are the temperatures that you'll feel as you step out the door at 7 a.m. tomorrow. 17 in Wilson, 14 degrees in Roxborough. We head south, looking at 13 in Sanford, 15 in Southern Pines, 17 in Fayetteville and in Clinton. So everybody gets in on that cold air. Our normal high is 52. We're looking at a morning temperature potentially of 41 on Sunday. Initially, it also looked like we might see that rain mid to late afternoon, and it would allow that colder air to get in place. So that's going to be one of the things that we're watching closely. The other thing that we watch is the track of the low. The closer to the coast the low is, the more warmth it's going to drag with it, and it means a lot of eastern North Carolina will just see rain. If it happens to hug the coast and that cold air gets here on time, we would have a better chance for snow in the triangle. And then after that, if it ends up farther east, we wouldn't even have any precipitation at all. So lots of scenarios out there, and we're going to take another look at our futurecast here in just a few minutes. In the meantime, we're pretty chilly with a little bit of a warm up on Saturday.
We know it's going to be cold. Elizabeth, thank you. Coming up on WRAL News at 4 p.m. It has been 1 year since the deadly shooting at Coquette in North Hills. We are hearing exclusively and for the first time from the restaurant's owner. And tonight at 6, an infant in Cary died after falling asleep in a baby lounger. Why police executed a search warrant after that, and how the case has been making its way through the court system. Ready or not, it's time to start thinking about filing your taxes. The IRS begins accepting returns later this month. 5 Under Side's Ashley Rowe has a look at some of the steps you should take now to make the process less stressful.
The IRS begins accepting tax returns on January 26th. That's a week from Monday. Here are a few key reminders and changes to keep in mind. If you're expecting a refund, electronic filing is the fastest way to get paid. As of this year, the IRS is largely moving away from paper checks, so make sure your direct deposit information is correct. The traditional tax deadline is still April 15th. If you need more time, you can request an automatic 6-month extension to file. That extension only applies to paperwork. Any taxes you owe are still due by April 15th. That's to avoid fines and interest. Several tax changes are now in effect after the federal spending bill was signed last summer, especially for individual filers. It's always a good idea to talk to a tax professional to avoid mistakes and possible penalties. Ashley Rowe, 5 on your side.
Google Gemini is launching personal intelligence. Users will now be able to link Google Apps with just one tap. It allows the assistant to tailor responses by accessing things like Gmail, Photos, Search, and YouTube history. Google says the goal is to improve your experience while keeping your data secure. It should be eligible over the next week to Google AI Pro and AI Ultra subscribers. YouTube is tightening controls on its platform, allowing parents to limit children's access to short-form videos or shorts. Video views on supervised minor accounts can now be restricted from 2 hours down to 0 minutes. Custom bedtime and take-a-break reminders are also available. The platform says it will prioritize positive, credible videos and continue to block potentially harmful content. Stepping down, the man behind prominent projects and issues at UNC is leaving, most notably the hiring of Bill Belichick. What we're learning about who could replace John Pryor. Deadly collision. Officers in California are investigating after a pickup truck and transit bus collide. And here's a look at the winning North Carolina Education Lottery numbers.
I'm Kirsten Clark in the WRAL Live Center. The Isaiah Ross double murder trial is continuing today in Orange County. Ross is accused of killing 2 teens. That's Lyric Woods and Devin Clark in 2022. Court is currently on a break, and an Orange County Sheriff's Office investigator is testifying. This morning, the prosecution called up a man who lives just about 150 yards away from where the bodies of Woods and Clark were found. Take a listen to what he had to say about what he heard the morning that they went missing.
I heard 4 gunshots. And the first time that woke me up, I looked at my clock, it was 5 minutes to 2. So I laid there, like I said. And then when I heard the 4 shots, it woke me up. And I looked at the clock, it was 5 minutes after 2.
He was just one of several witnesses called to the stand today. Now, you can watch the trial minute by minute on WRAL.com. We have a crew inside the courtroom bringing you live updates as they happen.
Police are investigating after someone broke into the home of NASCAR legend Greg Biffle just weeks after his death. Biffle and his family died along with 3 other people in a plane crash in Statesville just before Christmas. And now Mooresville police say $30,000 in cash was stolen from his home last week. 2 guns as well as NASCAR memorabilia are possibly missing. So far, no arrests have been made. Tomorrow, a public memorial for Biffle is planned at Bojangles Coliseum in Charlotte. Happening today in Raleigh, an ankle monitoring program will ask state lawmakers for more funding to avoid shutting down. The Criminal Justice Information Network tracks more than 1,400 criminal defendants across the state. Documents show the group needs more than $11 million in recurring funds to continue operating and growing across North Carolina. WRAL state government reporter Paul Spey explains why North Carolina judges are sending letters of support for the program.
It's a very important part of our pretrial process that keeps people safe and gives defendants some freedom before the trial.
Representatives for the organization are expected to ask for the funding in a hearing today. You can read more about the group and get updates throughout the day on WRAL.com. One of the last surviving members of the Tuskegee Airmen celebrated his 99th birthday in Quincy, Massachusetts. Brigadier General Enoch Woodhouse, or Woody, as everyone calls him, embodies what it was like for a black man to serve his nation during World War II. Amelia Fabiano shows us how leaders and members of his community celebrated his big milestone.
Surrounded by family, friends, and local leaders, Brigadier General Enoch Woody Woodhouse turned 99 years old Wednesday.
He's a true American hero.
He's one of the last living Tuskegee Airmen, the all-black fighter group that helped defeat Nazi Germany during World War II.
As a member of the greatest generation, your courage and dedication shaped our world.
The celebration at Quincy's Marina Bay, once a naval air station, a fitting backdrop for a man whose life spans nearly a century of service.
We've had a lot of famous people from Boston, but I don't know how many can say that they're a legend, that they changed the history of our country.
Born in Roxbury in 1927, Woody enlisted in the U.S. Army Air Corps on his 17th birthday. He overcame racism to become a commissioned officer. After his time serving our country, he'd go on to become a lawyer, educator, and mentor. Leaders like former Boston Police Commissioner William Gross, Boston's first black police commissioner, speaking about the impact he's made on our community and beyond.
You paved the way so I could be into my dream of law enforcement.
Both the cities of Quincy and Boston now honoring Woody with official proclamations, declaring January 14th Brigadier General Enoch Woody Woodhouse Day.
2 police officers jumped into action after a man fell onto train tracks in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Robert Golston shares body cam video of the tense moments and their heroic actions.
The 2 Cambridge police officers ran down the stairs and onto the Red Line platform in Central Square. Their body cameras were rolling.
The nearest train is in 1 minute.
Officers Miguel Mijara, seen in the video, and Derek Matalini jumped down onto the track.
That this individual somehow lost their balance, was too close to the edge, fell in, and they sustained an injury. It is a decent drop from the platform onto the actual rail bed.
When the officers got down here on the platform, there was only 1 minute left until the next train came.
The third rail power on the train was still active, and they weren't sure if they'd be able to get a message to that train in time to stop it before a tragic incident happened. We were able to physically pick them up and put them onto the platform, and then escaped the active railway before there was any train coming in.
Both officers were recognized for their bravery during police roll call. The department says this is yet another reason why their body-worn cameras are so valuable in this line of work.
There's a lot of great work that goes on. In some cases, they have to, as in this case, put themselves in harm's way. Certainly with the train coming and the third rail power active, that is not a safe place to be.
So glad they were able to save that man. That was Robert Golston reporting. Now, the man who fell onto the tracks reportedly only suffered minor injuries and is said to be okay. Olympic contender, the moving backstory of one of the figure skaters who will skate for Team USA in the Winter Games. Our team is working to bring you exclusive stories for coverage you'll find only on WRAL. Go to WRAL.com and search only. Plenty of sunshine out there and not a cloud in the sky. Looks beautiful, but we're not even going to get into the 40s today. You're looking live at Durham and watching WRAL News, available on Hulu and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. The man who played a major role in the hiring of Bill Belichick at UNC is leaving. UNC Board of Trustees member John Pryor was featured prominently in the WRAL documentary Coaching Carolina, the Belichick Way. He leaves with a year left on his term on the Board of Trustees. WRAL's Sean Gallagher is live right now in Chapel Hill. Sean, as you're working on this story, what can you tell us?
Yeah, we're still trying to nail down the answer to the biggest question here. Why now? And then also, what's next for UNC? Now, this is the statement he sent to the Board of Trustees, echoed in a release by the university saying, I've never felt better about the direction of the university and its leadership, so now is the time for me to get back to my day job. Pryor's time as the former chair and member of the Board of Trustees was marked by several high-profile projects, but you can't talk about Pryor's tenure without talking about the biggest addition at the university, Bill Belichick, a decision he talked about in WRAL's documentary, Coaching Carolina, the Belichick Way.
Yeah, I mean, what the hell? If I'm wrong, screw you all, right? I mean, I tried, right? I mean, like, why can't we be great at football?
So what's next? There are 15 members of the Board of Trustees, 8 selected by UNC Board of Governors and 6 appointed by the NC General Assembly, both of which lean heavily Republican. And that's something Governor Josh Stein called out earlier this morning.
We would be better served if these were not partisan organs, but rather they represented the broad representation of the entirety of the state, which includes unaffiliated voters, which includes Democratic voters, which includes Republican voters, not exclusively one party.
And while this decision seems abrupt, WRAL sports investigative reporter Brian Murphy says he's kind of had an inkling that this would happen. He says after his term as chairman ended in July, Pryor had kind of hinted that he wouldn't complete his full term on the board, which, as you said, was supposed to end in 2027. In Chapel Hill, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Deadly crash. What investigators say happened moments before 2 vehicles crashed and burst into flames. And closing in on a cause. The NTSB believes it has identified what contributed to a fiery crash involving a UPS plane. And it's an issue that's been identified in the past. For the first time, we're hearing from the owner of the popular North Hills restaurant that was the scene of a shooting 1 year ago. It's the focus of a WRAL investigation airing tonight at 6, only on WRAL. Here's Sarah Kruger.
The shooting happened inside the restaurant before it opened. Now we're approaching the 1 year mark, and we're hearing from the owner of Coquette about that day and about what's next.
I love the fact that it's 2026, super happy about that.
Coquette's owner, Kevin Jennings, says they are having a fresh start after the tragic start to 2025. Then head chef George Collum, according to Raleigh police, shot 2 co-workers, one of them fatally, and then killed himself. A memorial to honor Jonathan Schaefer is at the front of the restaurant still.
Jonathan worked at 3 different restaurants for us. Great guy. Everyone liked him. He was one of the guys you could call, that he would pick up shifts. He was always very there for us kind of thing.
For the victim's family and for the restaurant, nothing has been the same since.
We've had some very negative effects, and then we've had some very heartwarming kind of responses from the public and from our landlords and our friends, etc.
Tonight at 6, Jennings shares his memories from that day, the challenges they faced over the past year, and his hope for what lies ahead. Again, that story and this interview that you will see only on WRAL coming up tonight at 6. Sarah Kruger, WRAL News in Raleigh.
The California Highway Patrol is investigating after a deadly head-on crash that killed 6 people and seriously injured 1 person. Investigators say a gray pickup truck crossed the broken yellow center line and hit a bus carrying 6 people. Both vehicles burst into flames. The bus driver and 4 passengers died at the scene. The driver of the pickup truck also died at the scene. The survivor of the crash was airlifted to a hospital. Investigators have pinpointed the aircraft part that failed in the UPS cargo plane crash in Louisville that killed 14 people. The NTSB says it was a 3-inch wide metal housing around a bearing on the MD-11 jet that showed signs of metal fatigue and cracking. It split in 2, causing the left engine to go over the wing of the plane in a dramatic fireball moments after takeoff. The same part was the subject of a 2011 Boeing service letter to airlines, alerting them to 4 failures of engine-bearing races. The Skating Club of Boston is sending 3 figure skaters to compete in the 2026 Winter Games next month. One of them lost his parents in the D.C. midair crash a year ago. Skating coaches and former world champions Zhenya Shishkova and Vadim Nomov were among the victims. Their son Max had booked a different flight. Now he will help represent the U.S. in Italy next month. We are now days away from the opening ceremony in Milan. The 2026 Winter Olympic Games run from February 6th through the 22nd. You can catch the action here on WRAL and on Peacock. You hear the Olympic music, and then we have these wintry temperatures. It just gets us into that mind frame for Winter Olympics.
I'm so excited. I can't wait.
Coming.
I like the Winter Olympics better than the Summer Olympics. I mean, I love the Summer Olympics too, but
well,
you're
a snowboarder and all.
Probably
Yeah,
not surprised by that, right? Let's talk a little bit about precipitation. We've been talking about our chance for some wintry mix potentially on Sunday. We've also been talking about just how dry we are and how much we need rain. This is a look at the drought monitor, which comes out on Thursday morning, and we are now under severe drought across the entire viewing area. Last week we were under severe drought for just our 6 north and western counties, and now the entire viewing area. So definitely some bad news on the drought front. We widen out the view and you can see just how much of the state has gone under severe drought, probably at least double of what we saw last week. And even the areas that were abnormally dry last week, most of those are now under moderate drought. So our drought situation continues to worsen with really no relief in sight. We're looking at sunshine for tomorrow and a high of 45. We do have a very small chance of some rain on Saturday. Saturday will warm up ahead of a front. That front's going to bring us the really chilly air that we'll see on Sunday. The biggest update that I would say I've seen in the last 6 hours is that it looks like the precipitation is going to come in a little faster, and it may not give the cold air enough time to arrive, because we could start in the morning at 41. So this is all going to be a will it get cold enough sort of event. It really earlier looked like, well, we'll have the cold air in place, no problem, and then the precipitation will move over it. And that's how we get a good snow here in North Carolina. But now it's looking a little iffy as to whether or not the cold air will actually get here. There's definitely cold air in the mountains right now, and they may see some snow Saturday too. This is a live look at Boone. Just a little bit of a dusting. Earlier this morning it was not snowing, but it's starting to come down. Now they're not going to get a whole lot of snow out of this either today or Saturday. What we're looking at is a setup for cold air and a coastal low. That's a really good snow pattern for us. A couple days ago the question was, are we going to get a coastal low? We'll have the cold air. And now that's really switched. As of noon today, because the precipitation could move faster, that cold air might not make it here in time. So that's what we're watching very closely. The computer models are all over the place. You could find a computer model to tell you really anything you want this to do. And so it's, sifting through what is really going to happen here. So here's here's Futurecast for tomorrow. We're nice and quiet. Saturday morning, we have the potential for just a little bit of light patchy rain to come through, and then the cold air settles in. This is at 7 o'clock, and then Sunday, here's 3 a.m., and see how quickly that precipitation begins, and it's mostly rain. And the question is, if the cold air isn't here already, it's just really hard for us to get any snow out of it. So we'll be watching. With the precipitation arriving earlier, this is our new trend, it looks less and less likely that we could see snow, more likely that we'll have a low impact event, maybe a wintry mix. We'll continue to watch it, of course, very closely.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today. It's the second day of testimony in the trial of Isaiah Ross. He is charged with killing 14-year-old Lyric Woods and 18-year-old Devin Clark in September 2022. The morning started with testimony from the Associate Chief Medical Examiner about the victim's injuries, revealing Woods was shot at close range. We have a crew inside the courtroom, and we'll bring you updates during our evening news starting at 4. Today, the 18-year-old charged in connection with one of 3 chases in the Triangle yesterday is set to appear in court. Sky 5 captured exclusive video of 2 people running out of an SUV after the chase on Sudbury Road in Durham. Zachary Johnson faces multiple charges. Documents say he was driving a stolen car. He's due in court this afternoon. 2 new measles cases have been detected in our state. The infected children are siblings. They live in Buncombe County, which is in western North Carolina. Both of them are in isolation, and officials are notifying others of possible exposure. Health officials say these measles cases are connected to the outbreak in South Carolina. 7 measles cases have been identified in North Carolina since late December. For models, the catwalk is their stage. When it comes to the NFL, the tunnel is their catwalk. The man behind some of the NFL stars' best looks is Kyle Smith. He's the NFL's first fashion editor. Smith unlocks players' passion for fashion on game day. He uses fashion to tell athletes' personal stories, connecting their identity to the broader fashion world. Well, sticking with the NFL theme, a lifelong Seattle Seahawks fan from British Columbia is turning heads with the display built entirely from soda boxes. Check this out. The grocery store employee constructed a massive Seahawks-themed installation using roughly 1,500 boxes. Oh, I see the Sprite cases for the green. The worker is known for his elaborate large-scale creations. He says the Seahawks display has been in the planning stages for nearly 8 years. Very cool. Our pet of the day comes to us from Hope Animal Rescue. We have Lulu here. She's a sensitive, playful little lady. She has big dog energy and a pocket-sized 23 pounds. If you want to meet her, you can contact hopeanimals.org. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes. And you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Try to stay warm, enjoy the sunshine, and have a great day.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.